Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Home Study. This is a podcast for parents, especially those who have children through or are exploring foster care and adoption. We are here to help you navigate the world beyond paperwork and placement. Thanks for being here. Well, welcome to today's episode. We are so happy to have a guest with us. She is a new friend to both Laura and I. And so, Chelsie, welcome to the podcast.
Having me, ladies.
Chelsie is a friend of a friend, and we have brought her on today. Chelsie is a birth mom, and so we feel so honored. We are so honored to get to hear her story. She shares it as God's story, which is just so like wow, just I don't know, just even hearing you say that kind of gives me chills. So I'm really excited to hear this story. But Chelsie, why don't you go ahead and just give us like a really quick synopsis of like who you are, where you are right now, do you have any kids now? Just something like a little bit about you and your family.
Hello everyone. My name is Chelsie. I'm from the Tulsa, Oklahoma area. I do have children now. I have twins, a boy and a girl, Adley and Patriot. They'll be 9 in November, and they are my heart and soul.
Oh, that's so awesome. I can't wait to hear like how all this has played out.
Yes.
Okay, so why don't you just start at the very beginning, and just tell us a little bit about what influenced your decision to place your child up for adoption?
I come from a really heavy trauma background and got pregnant at 14. And it was one of those situations that I couldn't even tell my dad, because I had shared with him multiple times things that were happening, and no one ever saved me, we'll say. And I actually hid my pregnancy for 6 months because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do, what to think. I was terrified I was going to get punished for this. And I ended up telling a school friend of mine. Um, and it was a lot for her because when you're not raised around trauma and all of the ick, it can be really heavy. She ended up telling a school teacher, and then, of course, mandated reporting. If it wasn't for that, I really don't know what would have happened because I had zero direction, zero guidance, zero hope. I had no idea what I was going to do.
How old were you?
14, and I had my son at 15.
Wow.
Yeah. So once the authorities and my dad was alerted, there was a series of like a month or two of literally dragging me to every abortion clinic imaginable, and that alone was very traumatizing. I can remember the last place that I went to. I was laying on the table. It's very cold, very sterile, very dark. You're already feeling the shame, you're already feeling the guilt, you're already feeling like, am I going to be in trouble for this? Like, what's happening? No one's explaining anything to you. And I didn't even have a choice. This was never a conversation. This is, we're just going to go do this. And I remember laying on the table with the nurse, and I remember saying to her as I'm like crying, please lie. I don't want to do this. This does not feel right to me. I said, I don't know what I'm going to do or what the plan is, but I don't want to do this. Do I have any rights? This is my body. And I'm going to say God definitely intervened there because I don't remember if I was 6 weeks or 8 weeks for the Oklahoma statute for abortion at the time. And she was like, we can't do it anyways. You're too far along. And I grew up really, really poor, in and out of the system before I moved to Oklahoma. And so we didn't have the money. The next step was go across state lines and go pay $5,000. That wasn't happening. So, from there, I got linked with, I can't remember, I'm going to assume it was a social worker through DHS. I can't quite remember who it was, but I got linked and sent over to Gladney out in Fort Worth, Texas. It's the Gladney Adoption Center. That place was an absolute lifesaver. I don't know, without them, one, I didn't have any prenatal care or anything, or support at home. So without them, I don't know what would have ended up happening, or even if I would have graduated the 8th grade. So going there, meeting all the other women, having a safe place to lay down at night, not have to worry about anything. But I was fed multiple times a day. I went to the doctor. I was meeting new friends. It was just a different life. I didn't want to go back home. I was able to get caught up almost a whole grade level. So when I came back to Oklahoma to complete 8th grade year, I was already advanced and ahead.
Wow. So you lived in this adoption, was it an adoption center or like a home for young moms? What did that look like for those couple of months that you were there?
Yeah. So I ended up going on Christmas break. We were, hiding it from everybody. So why not just go
Mm,
Christmas break and then come back after that? I want to say it's an adoption center, but it was very much set up like think college dorm room. Like we all had our own. Well, I say we all had our own room. Some people shared a room, but like you had your own room and like a bathroom, and then there was like a common area and a kitchen and stuff. But I was the youngest one there, so I was by myself. Um, we had a fitness center, we had all kinds of stuff. And I believe it runs half nonprofit, if not all nonprofit, because I remember I got to experience things in life that I would have never been able to experience, like Disney on Ice and hockey games and stuff, because people donated so we could get out and go do things. And I didn't want
wow.
to leave. It was awesome. Like I met some of the best people ever. I actually went and got my photo albums out. Chaz is my son. Um, and he has Chaz's box. He has his own box. And I was flipping through pictures of me and the girls. And I'm like,
Oh,
man, I wonder where they're at in life. And reading some of the letters that Shelly, so Chaz's mom, would write me, and just remembering back when he was itty bitty and stuff. So yeah, I've always said that at some point I'm going to get to where I can go and donate my time and give back, because it was that impactful for me.
So this help, was it just other pregnant women that were at this center?
Yep, just birth moms. There was a counselor, social worker, like they had like a little office there during the day. And then at night there was a house mother, I guess if you will, for lack of better terms, who would come in and had a room and would make sure no one was getting into trouble or anything like that, and everybody was okay, or if
mm-hmm.
someone went into labor we could rush. So we had a birth mom. It shifted out like once a week.
Wow.
Okay, so
It's really
just to
neat.
like yeah, I know. I'm like, "Phew." Okay, so just to kind of summarize, so you were 14, you found out you were pregnant, not a great situation, went to get an abortion, but you were too far along. And then a social worker was the one that, or someone like that was the one that recommended this center. Is that kind of how that went?
I was able to homeschool there and everything, and yeah.
So then you stayed there until you gave birth
Right.
and then you went back
Uh,
to Tulsa.
No. So I stayed there. So
Okay.
I actually had I went into labor a month early. So I had my son a month early and didn't even know. I just was
Wow.
having severe back pains. So I had him early, but he was very healthy, no complications. I actually stayed. I got to, I say, keep my baby for 6 to 8 weeks. Yes and no. So we have transitional homes. So I gave birth and they gave me plenty of time to, like, do you want to hold him? Things like that. We couldn't breastfeed or anything like that because it's too much of a bonding. And then the baby went home with like a den mother, and she or the family would take care of the baby. And then during the daytime, they would bring the baby up to the center, and I could literally spend 12 hours with him if I had him all day long.
Wow.
And she even in here, she even wrote little, like every day, she wrote like February 22nd, you were born, like, and literally kept track the entire time she had him, and gave that to me whenever Chaz was transitioning to his forever home.
So when you were spending time with him, was there already an adoptive family picked out or not yet?
How did that work? Let me backtrack so I can try to remember the exact time frame. It was really difficult right before I gave birth to my son, because of the legal issues. So the biological father and myself, we had to meet with an attorney and literally sign paperwork giving our rights away. And I remember sitting there and I'm like, this paperwork, the way that they word this is so harsh. I was just like, this makes me sound like I'm unfit, or I'm not going to be a good mom. Like, it was very much like you are removing your rights as a like it. kind of got lost in all of that, needed a minute. And that happened. I was still pregnant when that happened. And then, okay, so yes, I picked Tim and Shelley before I had Chaz. They gave us a stack of portfolios and basically was like, here, pick your family for your kid. And I was very overwhelmed. I turned 15 at that point. Very overwhelmed, didn't know what to do. I'm like, how do you choose the right family? Like, no guidance at all. It's just like, here's a bunch of people who want a baby. And I'm like, I remember crying
You
and
can't even drive a car yet.
and I'm making this forever choice, right? And I'm like, So, side note, I did not grow up in a very loving Christian type home at all. My stepmom was an atheist. The things that went on with demonic manifestations that happened, it was very terrifying to live there. As I've kind of grown with my walk with the Lord, and He's kind of shifted me back to kind of show me some things and where I'm at spiritually and all of the things, I'm like, oh wow. So I remember I used to sneak off with my bike and go to we weren't allowed to go to my grandma's house because we were always dirty, had headlights, like all of the stuff. So we weren't ever allowed to be around the bougie family, right? And so I remember I would sneak over there, and I always remember telling my Nana, like, I'm scared. I don't like living there, Nana, like, I'm scared. And she taught me, the 2 Timothy prayer, God doesn't give us a spirit of fear, but of love, a sound mind, and a good judgment, love, and a sound mind. And so she's like, whenever you're scared, Chelsea, just pray that prayer. Just pray that prayer. Pray it over and over and over. And so back in the room with all these portfolios, I remember there, and I'm like, God, like, I don't know what to do. And I don't know how this works either. Cause like, this is not familiar, but I remember my Nana telling you don't give us a spirit of fear. And I just remember praying whatever prayer that I thought at the time. And I was sitting there and I was going through the portfolios and then Tim and Shelley's. And literally when I say I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt, without second questioning, that's my family. It was like the Holy Spirit at that time. And I wasn't even filled with the Holy Spirit, but like, I can't make it make sense. It's just like, Chelsea, that's the family. This is your son's family. And I said, okay, didn't even look at the rest of them. And I started daydreaming about this family as I'm reading this portfolio. And I remember just weeping. And I'm like, this family is beautiful, and they can give him something I will never be able to give him, a mom and a dad and cousins and clothes and food and shelter. And these people, Tim and Shelley, just looked warm and safe and cozy and comforting. And I knew that I knew that I knew. And I have literally more testimony that I knew that that was the right choice. I had, made Tim and Shelley a little gift basket for their big day, for when they came to meet their son and take their son home. And I had made a little, I kept track of like my pregnancy, and I gave them my ultrasound pictures, like the good ultrasound pictures. And I made Chaz this blanket with all these really pretty pastel colors, those ones that you like cut the strips and you tie, the tie blankets. And I gave it to her. And I remember the day that she opened this gift and she started weeping. And I was like, what's happening? I don't know what's happening. She stopped what she was doing and she handed me this mink yellow baby book. Her sister, so my son's aunt, had painted, a mural on his nursery that matched, I don't know if y'all can see this, but the identical colors and animals that blanket was, almost as if she had the blanket and mimicked the pattern on the blanket. And in that moment, I didn't understand it at that time, but now, like I said, we're spiritually evolved and we're flowing in the Holy Spirit, right? The Lord took me back, and that solidified, like, this was absolutely what was supposed to happen, not just for me. I was just the vessel that the Lord used to bless this family, that this was Chaz's forever home. They even flew down, they're from North Carolina. So so I had picked them, and then they had arranged a meeting with my social worker, and we all went out. They took me to dinner and they told me about their life. She gave me wonderful books for birth moms, and this beautiful, I still have it. It's a cherry wood jewelry box. and it's just so pretty with these little jewels on them. And they were just so, you could see it in their eyes, just how blessed they were, and just how like, it's happening for me. Like God answered prayers and this is happening for me. And so, yeah.
Man, you're gonna make us cry over
I
here.
know, that's so incredible. I'm gonna need to get tissues. Wow.
What a comfort. What a comfort to have that like sign from the Lord. Just that like yeah, man, that's
It's a God thing.
Yeah.
We may
that's
not
incredible.
It
understand it.
really
We may not
is.
understand it at first, but he's got a purpose. And it's just crazy how you walk through life and like you can hear the same scriptures forever. And he's like, well, God will turn what was meant for evil for good. And you're like, how does that even make sense? And I remember as I was early stages of like processing through trauma, and I'm like, God, I don't understand this. Like, how does this make sense? Especially when I was going through the whole, I'm never going to have kids. Like, what? And now where I am at now, it makes sense. And I'm like, I can see that because you had a plan and your plan was so much. We just see what's in front of us. God sees the whole picture behind the scenes and he has it worked out for his timing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Wow. So, when you made your initial adoption plan, what was the like the communication going to look like from that point on? Did you use like some of the language that we've talked about as like a semi-open or a closed or a fully open adoption? What did that look like as you were, even before you had Chaz? Had you talked through what that would look like?
That was hard for me. I talked to my counselor about that a lot because a part of you, like I said, because of the way that my son was created into this world, it wasn't, oh, I'm in love and just being a rebellious teenager, me and my boyfriend, whatever. It wasn't like that. Like this was very violent. And a part of you is like, man, like I don't know if I can handle being 15, even knowing my son, because of all of almost like he'd be a trigger. Not that he's bad, he didn't do anything bad. It's not him, but just the reminder, like this happened to me. And then on the flip side of that, it's like, yeah, but I don't want to sit and wonder. I don't want to sit and wonder. And every time I would sit and think about it, like privately and stuff, I always just felt like the Lord wanted me to do an open adoption because he knew I would regret not knowing him. And so I don't I just remember it being open or closed, not semi-open or fully opened. Now one of my friends who was at the center with me, they did a fully open adoption. And I do remember, because I was getting ready to leave and come back to Oklahoma, she told me that, and I felt it made me sad because I'm like, man, how do you get to have all of this contact and still be present? And that's, not everybody can have that, but they both did live in Texas, and it would have been a lot more easier to communicate that. And now that I'm grown, I'm a woman, I can see I was 15, like that probably would have been very confusing for me with lots of mixed emotions, knowing that the environment that kind of brought me there, I was about to go back to. So just the world of domestic violence and drugs and all of the stuff, I don't know how I would have been able to even process a fully open adoption like that. So I did an open adoption. And for the first 4 years, like, I got so many pictures and letters and updates, and I struggled. I every year I looked forward to checking the mailbox on Chaz's birthday and getting stuff. And every year I would go and buy him a birthday card and get him something, but I could never send it. It was like I was reliving the day that he got placed with his forever home. And it was hard for me. It was like letting go of him all over again. And at that point in time, so by the time he was 4, I'm well into high school, and my aunt actually took us in right before I started freshman. So I had to go back to my dad's and kind of survive all of that. And then that summer, mental health got really bad. I wanted to not be here anymore. And so I just reached out and was like, I need you to come get me because I'm about to pack a bag and I'm going to take a hike down the highway because I can't do this anymore. And so that summer we went and stayed with me and my sister stayed with my auntie, and it ended up, she took guardianship over us. So I kind of got a second chance to be someone new and not be that girl. Um, And I just kind of was like, this is a lot. I don't know how to process it. I don't know. So I never followed up. I never stayed consistent with letters. I didn't know how, to be honest with you. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if it was the right time. I carried a lot of condemnation. It's been so many years. Like, would they welcome this letter? Would they even tell Chaz that? Um, I reached out. What would that look like? And so I kind of checked out for a little bit and just lived life. And now, you know, my children, they know they have an older brother. Chaz has talked about in my family. He's not kept a secret. Now it's like, okay, maybe we are getting to a point where we need to shift some things and just send a card. I was a kid when all of that happened, and so this is where we are now. And my twins so much want to meet their older brother. Oh.
But
Wow.
so let me back up just a little bit. Do you feel like, when all this was happening, like, did you feel like you had a choice? Or did you feel like this is inevitable, I have to do this?
I had zero choice, especially with the whole abortion thing. No one even told me what was happening. It was get in the car, we're going to the doctor. It was like, what? And I'm there, and I don't even remember. I feel like the first couple clinics we went to, I didn't even know. I still didn't know what was happening. And then it finally clicked, and I was like, oh. Um, and then as far as the adoption went, I kind of looked at it multiple ways. I can either go this route and get away from everything for a while, because I fell in love with Gladney. Like they literally saved my life. Sorry. And once I was there and I was settled in, I knew, like I knew once I saw Tim and Shelley's profile, I knew that it gave me the ultimate peace to know that that was the right decision. I would do it all over again. I don't regret doing what I did. I could never give him the life at that time that he deserved. And yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I'm thinking about your twins that you have now and just what that reunion could look like at some point for you. And obviously it's heavy and there's a lot of weight that comes with it, but you definitely still see him as your child, and you see Chaz as your twins' older brother. Like, I think as hard as that is, I think it's still really beautiful.
Thank you.
It's really neat. Yeah.
Yeah, it is, like, from sitting on, like, this side, there's just a lot of what you're saying that I'm like, "Oh, man," like, one, it makes you just really think about the birth moms, like, and this is partly why we wanted you on because, sometimes a birth mom is so abstract and they're so whatever you have in your mind that you've made them out to be, and we can forget that, like, they're real human beings and they didn't always have a choice. Like you're saying, like, that hit so hard for me because there are so many moms out there that have that same story of I didn't have a choice or I felt like I didn't have a choice. Um, and I mean, I'm so glad that you are where you are now. But it does just really help give us some perspective, especially because when we accept a baby, it's so different. It's like this joyful, yay, a child place, often like coming out of infertility or even if not, like you're still and there's such a heartbreak on that other side. Like,
Day. It's like, but I am a mom. And so it was like you're suffering in silence. And then being so young. And then even when I got in my 20s, before I got pregnant with the twins, and people are like, do you have any kids? And it's like, yes, but like, do I say that I have a kid? Because then comes the 100 questions. Well, where is he? How old is he? And, the few times you feel led to kind of share, yeah, I actually have a son. And they're like, well, how old? And they start counting the math, like, you're how old and this. And then you have all this shame and guilt and rejection. It's just like, I don't even know what to do or say. But you sit there because you're like,
Mm.
man, but I still am a mom. Like, I still housed and supported and birthed such a beautiful gift for another family. And you're on the other side, you're stuck with shame and guilt, embarrassment even, like, man. So it's a lot. There's still a lot of stigmas. And I've also had to learn too that when people ask questions, not everybody is doing it to be nosy or rude, But when you're carrying shame and guilt with it because of how it happened, or the terms around it, it's hard to be vulnerable with strangers and with people to even talk about it.
Yeah. Do you feel like when you got pregnant with the twins that that was traumatizing or triggering?
Actually, I was just talking about this today. My babies have healed me in so many ways, especially my son. And I had saw something today that kind of crushed me and just gave me such another level of just being grateful that I'm their mom. And it was because my son, his love language triggers me because of all of my sexual trauma. He's a touchy-feely, he's a Velcro kid. He always has to touch me. And I've had to work real hard on my trauma to not be triggered by my kid. And I used to also carry shame and guilt about that because I'm like, I prayed for these children. I wanted these children, and he triggers me and I feel suffocated and I can't move and I just want to flip out. And I had saw a thing today that said, "Have you ever wondered why God gave you a kid that was really needy?" And it was like, "Have you ever thought about maybe he gave you that kid because you never felt seen or heard as a kid?" And I was like, mic drop and period. Like, okay. I was like, okay. I can just look back at different ways where I'm like, I'm drowning and I want to check out. And Patriot, my son, he'd walk up to me out of nowhere and just kiss me and be like, "You're the best mom in the world. I love you." Or they'd be in the shopping carts and we'd be getting groceries, and both of the twins would just be like, "Mommy, we love you. You're amazing." And it's just like, where did that come from? And it's always like that. I go back to God's perfect timing, like he hears us and he sees us. And it's like every single time that I'm like at a deep end in life, they'll do something that melts my heart all over again. And I'm like, this is why I do what I do. It's all worth it.
That's so incredible. It's like God looks down and just like winks at you, like those little moments of just little things of like, you thought that this was not going to go this way, but let me show you how great it can actually be.
Yep. Heavenly high fives
Oh,
is what I
so
call them.
sweet.
I'm like, I see you, God.
Oh, I like that. That's good. So, the audience of this podcast is usually parents who they have adopted or they're considering adoption. So, I want to like just kind of pick your brain a little bit on what misconceptions you think a lot of people, especially adoptive parents, what misconceptions do we have about birth moms in general? And obviously, we know you're speaking from your perspective. It's one perspective, but I think you can help us to maybe understand, what are we not understanding? What are we not seeing?
So, I am a therapist now. I work with adolescents and substance abuse. So I work with all the kiddos who are struggling with substance abuse. A lot of them come with co-occurring or heavy trauma. I do also work with adults, lots of DHS, kids in foster care. I have a lot of kids who are in DHS custody or are already been adopted through foster care. And not saying that every single person's the same, but it's very common that I've seen that parents are also in active addiction or prison. Um, and so, yeah, I can see how people might think that like if a child is not with their biological family, that they're just not good people. They must be abusive, or they must be on drugs, or they must be in gangs, or they must be, doing criminal activities, which makes them so unfit. And that's not the case. Like when I was at Gladney, every single woman who was pregnant there, I mean, there was even, if I recall, someone in their 40s or 50s pregnant. She thought she was in menopause, got pregnant. Every single one of them, just they weren't ready to be moms. None of them were on drugs. None of them that I recall were in abusive relationships. Actually remember feeling like an outcast there because I was the youngest one and my story was sad and violent, not, "Oh, we're just in love and decided to have sex for the first time." So everybody else has had beautiful stories, and they were there doing that because that was going to be what was best for them and the baby. So yeah, not all birth moms or birth dads have traumatic stories of addiction or domestic violence. or anything like that. Some people truly just do it out of love, and they want to bless people who want and are ready to be parents with a baby.
Man,
Yeah.
how many people were like roundabout at this center?
Man, I don't remember there being more than 10 of us. I don't recall.
Okay, but not like, I mean, not like 30 people. It's like, okay.
No, no. Can you imagine 30 women of all ages pregnant and hormonal? That would be the Chronicles of the Birth Moms. Like, that would be
That's a Lifetime show.
right. Let's do a new docuseries on Netflix.
Oh man.
Are there any other things that you would like to share to, whether it's another woman right now who is considering adoption, maybe thinking about like, should I make an adoption plan? Should I look for a center? If you were to talk to someone like that, what would be some things you would share with her?
One, I would just love on her and make sure that she knows that there's no shame and guilt in this decision. It does not make her an incapable woman. It does not make her an incapable mom. It doesn't make her a bad woman, and it doesn't make her a bad mom. Sometimes we get in situations in life and we just can't do it. So to be in a position where you are nurturing and caring for a baby that you feel every single day move in your stomach, to turn around and go, man, I can't do this. That's a lot in itself alone. All of the stuff that comes with that. I would hug her and pray for her. I would pray with her. I would pray over her, and I would ask Holy Spirit to guide her with this, and just give her an abundance of peace and wisdom and clarity and guidance on her situation and the parents that this child is meant to have. I was very fortunate that I had such a phenomenal experience when it came to my adoption process and being able to look through portfolios. Um, I have the peace of mind knowing that my child's placed in a safe family. Like, I don't have to worry about what was done to me, done to my kids. It's not a decision that someone just wakes up one day and goes, okay, I'm going to give my baby up for adoption. I think that when women choose the adoptive route versus the abortion route, it makes them really brave, because they are able to still nurture and love on this baby that they're about to bless with someone else. And I think that's incredibly beautiful, that they're even giving chance at life, not only to this child, but to this family. So I would just encouragement, be there to listen, supportive, and just to provide a safe place to have all the feels. And it's okay to change your mind too. Like, if you haven't picked a family yet and you get towards the end and you decide that you can do this, good for you. You have a right to make that decision.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good that's a good word. Well, as we close up, is there anything that you just specifically want adoptive families, so families on the other end, to take away from your story? Like, what do you want them to know?
Man, I don't know. Maybe just try to meet birth mothers where they are. I don't know if everybody who goes into adoption has negative stigmas or thinks badly of a situation, but at the end of the day, these are still mamas, these are still women, these are still girls who have gone through, some of us have gone through some really, really bad things. I will say that one thing that I kind of struggle with as a birth mom is wondering, like, does my son want to know who I am? I absolutely have faith that Tim and Shelley have shared all that they can with Chaz, but I wonder now, like, I hope he doesn't have trauma from this, right? Like, I hope he doesn't feel abandoned or rejected. So all these adoptive parents, tell your babies how much you love them every single day. Talk good about their mom. Like, make, whatever it is, because that's still connection. That's still DNA. There's still a piece of that. I don't know. It would be a beautiful thing to write letters to the birth mom. You don't have to give it to her. Give her a journal, or get a journal and just write to her and just share things in that journal about how this beautiful child is growing up and thriving and all of this stuff. And maybe one day, if you guys meet each other, you'll have something super beautiful and cherished to give to her so that she can feel like she didn't miss out on anything. And still, like, that is still a piece of her.
That's really beautiful. That's good. It's a good reminder for me too, because we don't have a lot of communication with our twins' birth mom. We'd like to, and we're totally, yeah, like I want her to know what's going on. So that's a really sweet idea to just write a journal to her and write notes.
To give it to her, but how cool would that be for when your twin girls get old enough to be like, hey, I just
Yeah,
want you to know I prayed over your birth mom.
yeah,
I wrote her letters to let her know, like, how amazing you guys are and how in love I am with you.
yeah,
Like, that'd even be cool for the girls. Because
yeah,
then they
That's
definitely.
such
know.
a good idea.
I have friends who are adopted, and not every kid who's adopted, I mean, we all have different stories, and
Mhm,
some of them comes with a lot of feeling rejected. My mom didn't want
mhm,
me, because we all are human, so we all have that instinct desire and connection to be with the people who created us. And if we don't ever share where they come from, it can create shame and guilt.
yeah, that's so good. That's awesome.
Man,
Wow.
well, yeah. Well, thank
Yeah,
you, Chelsea, so much. This has been amazing. And I think I could speak for Abby too, I'm
yeah.
sure, when I say like we have so much to just think about and we're just so grateful for you. Um, so thank you for being here. And if anything that we said today made you laugh, cry, or feel seen, please feel free to just send this episode to a friend. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks again, guys, and we'll see you next time.